As an American, growing up in the 60s, in the 50s and 60s, Russia was a very hidden place for us. We knew nothing of real Russia and real Russian people. We only knew comic book Russia. This is all that we would learn in America. Everything was caricature. Everything was comic book, right? Everything was mythology. There was no real Russia that Americans were in touch with. So for me, in the last perhaps 20 years or so, to meet Russians, especially when I first started to meet Russians, it was like meeting a brother that was separated at birth. Okay, meeting a brother that you had never seen in this life before, you know, separated at birth for some reason, where you want to find out so much because of this sort of relationship. And so I've come to see the last sort of 15 years of spiritual interest coming, a lot of yogis now, you know, being created in Russia, and people with interest in India and coming to India and living in India and practicing Indian tradition and so forth. I see that the cultural depth of Russia, the depth of Russian language, the depth of Russian literature, the depth of Russian appreciation of art and music and so forth, that I think that this has strongly contributed to the intensity of not only the Russian interest in India, but the accomplishment that a number of Russians have made in Indian culture and yoga and philosophy, astrology and so forth. I think it's quite astounding. But we can really see this sort of explosion of consciousness in a lot of people in Eastern Europe with the collapse of the Soviet Soviet system. But it's complicated. It's very complicated. I know it's much more complicated than that, because we have these other elements. We have what took place, right, in the wake of the collapse of the Soviet system, which was probably as bad or worse than anything that ever happened in the Soviet times. I think that Russia has a lot of Asian sensibility built into it. That Russia is different from Western Europe in the sense that it's more of a meeting place of East and West. So I think that there are also elements of India that are inside of Russia in a very subtle way, that Russians are able to recognize when they see India and when they meet with Indian culture. This is a guess of mine. I'm just guessing about this. So there are ancient connections, and Russia was regularly traversed by Indian holy men who were exploring the world for thousands of years. So Russia is no stranger to India, and India is no stranger to Russia. So yes, it should be easier for Russians to understand India. Good luck.